The film opens with Sarah enjoying a peaceful moment in the park with her young son. But this tranquility is shattered when a helicopter flies overhead, its thunderous roar triggering something dark within her. The sound instantly transports Sarah back to her days as an army officer, to a mission that went horrifically wrong. She remembers watching her colleagues die around her, the trauma that destroyed her mental health and forced her into early retirement. Lost in these haunting flashbacks, Sarah doesn't notice a man playing with his family approaching her. When he accidentally bumps into her, something snaps. In her confused state, she sees him as an enemy combatant and strikes him with devastating force, breaking his nose and causing blood to stream down his face. The reality of what she's done hits her like a freight train. Horrified and apologetic, she quickly takes her son and flees the scene. Fast forward several years. Sarah's son has grown up, and we find them both at the American embassy for what seems like routine business. But nothing is routine in Sarah's world. While they're waiting, she receives a mysterious message from a journalist who claims to have explosive information about her last military mission, details that could finally reveal how their enemies knew exactly where to attack them that fateful day. The journalist has even sent video evidence, and Sarah begins watching it with growing intensity. The embassy wait stretches on endlessly, and her son grows restless. Being the caring mother she is, Sarah takes him to the embassy's playroom to keep him occupied. But when she returns just minutes later, she finds something that makes her blood run cold. The playroom is completely empty. Her son has vanished without a trace. Panic sets in as Sarah frantically searches every corner of the embassy. She encounters Eric, the regional security officer, and desperately explains her situation. She mentions seeing two suspicious boys earlier. One had handed a bag to another near a restricted area that should have been off limits. She pleads with Eric to open that restricted door, convinced her son might have wandered in there. Eric mobilizes the entire embassy staff to search for the missing child, but he refuses to open the restricted area, citing security protocols. Just when Sarah thinks she's getting somewhere, a sergeant arrives and whispers something urgent in Eric's ear. What happens next will shake Sarah to her core. Eric escorts Sarah to his office and delivers news that doesn't make sense. According to embassy records, she arrived alone. Her son's name isn't on the entry log. The CCTV footage shows her walking in by herself, no child in sight. Sarah's world begins to crumble. She knows, with every fiber of her being, that she brought her son here. The suggestion that she's imagining things fills her with rage. When Sarah demands to contact the German police, Eric reluctantly hands her the phone. But the police deliver another devastating blow. The embassy is American territory, and they have no jurisdiction there. The most they can offer is to send officers to escort Sarah out of the building. It's a bureaucratic nightmare that leaves her feeling completely powerless. Left alone when the sergeant steps out, Sarah seizes her chance. She calls her mother, desperately explaining that the American embassy has kidnapped her son. But instead of support, she receives another crushing response. Her mother asks if she's been taking her medication, revealing that Sarah suffers from stress-induced perceptual disturbances. Her mind creates elaborate false memories and hallucinations, a lasting consequence of her military trauma. No one believes her, but Sarah isn't going down without a fight. Using her military ingenuity, she fashions a makeshift lockpick from a pin and escapes the office. Her determination leads her back to the playroom, where she discovers something that validates her sanity, her son's toy car, lying forgotten in a corner. This small piece of evidence reignites her resolve. She knows her son was here, and she's going to find him. Sarah begins a systematic search of the embassy, destroying security cameras as she goes. Her military training kicks in as she picks locks and breaches secured areas. In one locked room, she discovers something unexpected, a terrified girl who screams at the sight of her. The girl, who introduces herself as Irina, reveals she's been held in the embassy for 2 months. She offers to help Sarah find her son in exchange for helping her escape. It's an alliance born of desperation, but Sarah accepts. Little does she know, this partnership will uncover a conspiracy far more sinister than a simple kidnapping. Meanwhile, the embassy's general learns that the woman causing chaos in their facility is Sarah, a former Special Forces operative. The general wants to call the police immediately, viewing Sarah as a significant threat. But Eric surprises everyone by refusing, claiming it would destroy Sarah's future career prospects. His compassion seems genuine, but is it really? Irina proves invaluable, explaining that they'll need an access card to search the restricted areas effectively. For Sarah, obtaining one is child's play. She ambushes a security guard, renders him unconscious, and takes his credentials. Now they have the run of the embassy. Their investigation leads them to a loading area where Irina had planned to escape via truck, but the vehicle is gone. However, Sarah makes a crucial discovery, the bag she saw with those 2 boys earlier. Inside, she finds drugs, but before she can process this revelation, armed guards arrive to capture Irina. The pieces of a larger puzzle are starting to come together, but Sarah doesn't have time to think. She fights off the guards with the skill of a trained soldier, but Eric arrives and ends the confrontation by injecting Sarah with a sedative. When Sarah awakens, she's confronted by both Eric and the general. Her demands for her son are met with devastating news. The general claims to have spoken with Sarah's mother, who confirmed Sarah's mental health issues and explained that her hallucinations began after her failed mission in Afghanistan. Doubt creeps in when Eric shows Sarah the CCTV footage again. Frame by frame, she watches herself entering the embassy alone. No son, no companion, just a mentally troubled woman talking to herself. The evidence seems irrefutable, and Sarah begins to question her own sanity. She spends a torturous night in the embassy, wrestling with the possibility that everything she believes might be a delusion. But as morning arrives, so does Irina, disguised and ready to continue their mission. Sarah demands answers about Irina's identity and why the embassy is holding her. The truth is more complex than she imagined. Irina's father was a politician with deep criminal connections who did illegal work for the U.S. government. When he switched political allegiances, the government had him eliminated and captured Irina to prevent her from exposing their activities. The men Sarah saw earlier weren't trying to kidnap Irina, they were there to kill her. To prove she's not another hallucination, Irina does something shocking. She cuts her own hand, and the blood that flows is very real. This brutal demonstration convinces Sarah that her perceptions aren't entirely fabricated. Someone is definitely trying to manipulate her mind. Reinvigorated, Sarah continues searching for the boy she saw in the restricted area. When she finds him, he claims to know where her son is but demands she retrieve his drug bag in exchange for information. Sarah recognizes he's lying but plays along, demanding he provide an access card and embassy map first. During this negotiation, Sarah notices Eric has arrived with his young daughter. When the little girl accidentally leaves behind a toy phone, Sarah and Irina retrieve it, a decision that will prove crucial later. The boy delivers the promised access card and map, leading them to the sergeant's office. What they discover on his computer is chilling, a comprehensive file on Sarah that goes back years. The embassy hasn't just been watching her recently, they've been monitoring her for a very long time. But the most shocking discovery is a file labeled Islamabad Meeting. The photos inside show Eric in a compromising position, and Sarah realizes these are connected to the video the journalist sent her that morning. She calls the journalist immediately, and what he reveals turns her world upside down. The attack on the U.S. military base in Afghanistan, the mission that killed Sarah's colleagues and destroyed her life, wasn't a random Taliban assault. It was orchestrated by Eric himself. He had sold out the American forces, revealing their location to enemy combatants in exchange for money. Sarah wasn't just a survivor of a tragic military operation, she was the sole witness to Eric's treachery. The journalist explains he has video proof of Eric meeting with Taliban leadership, but the enemy commander's face needs to be enhanced for identification. As they wait for the enhanced image, the sergeant approaches his office, forcing Sarah and Irina to make a hasty escape after a brief struggle. When the enhanced photo finally arrives, Sarah's blood runs cold. The man meeting with Eric is the Taliban commander who led the attack that killed her unit. Eric isn't just corrupt, he's a traitor who sold out American soldiers for profit. Sarah helps Irina reach the warehouse where trucks transport people illegally across borders. To create a distraction for Irina's escape, Sarah engages the guards in combat. Her military training serves her well as she systematically defeats multiple opponents, but Eric arrives with reinforcements. Even outnumbered, Sarah's superior combat skills allow her to overcome all the guards. When Eric finally faces her one-on-one, she disarms him and demands answers at gunpoint. Why did you make such a grand plan to kill me? You could have done anything. You could have caused an accident on the road. You could have murdered me. Your aim was only to kill me. Eric is surprised and asks her, "How do you know that I want to kill you? And why would I get you killed?" Sarah says, "Because I am the last soldier who survived that day in Afghanistan. I am the witness of that attack, behind which you are also involved. And just to save yourself, you want to kill me. But I will not harm you. I just want you to give me my son back." Eric tells her, "If something happens to me, then remember that you will not get your son for the rest of your life." Hearing his threat, Sarah leaves. She understands that now she will have to do something else to get her work done. She goes out. Sarah realizes that brute force won't get her son back. She needs to be smarter. Leaving Eric defeated but alive, she formulates a desperate plan. She locates Eric's young daughter, who's still at the embassy with her toy phone. Using gentle conversation to distract the child, Sarah leads her to a secure safe house within the embassy and locks them both inside. Word spreads quickly through the embassy that Sarah has kidnapped Eric's daughter. The general, Eric, and all the embassy staff gather outside the safe house, pleading with Sarah to release the innocent child. Their voices create a chorus of desperation, but Sarah remains resolute behind the locked door. The standoff continues with everyone repeatedly begging Sarah to let the little girl go. Finally, Sarah responds with her terms. "Okay, I'll release the child, but only on one condition. Eric must come inside alone first. We need to talk, just him and me. Eric has no choice but to agree. As he enters the safe house, his first action reveals his guilt. He immediately deactivates the internal communication system. He knows that everything said in this room would normally be broadcast to the embassy's security center, and he can't risk anyone else hearing what Sarah knows about his crimes. Sarah's opening statement chills Eric to the bone. I know you want to kill me. I'm prepared to die, but I have one final request. Promise me you'll return my son to my mother after I'm gone. Eric doesn't respond to her death wish, but something breaks inside him. Perhaps it's the sight of his own daughter in danger, or maybe it's the weight of years of deception finally crushing down. He begins to confess everything. Fine, he says, his voice heavy with resignation. You want the truth? Yes, I was there that day. I was involved with the Taliban in Afghanistan, and I was the one who disclosed the location of the US base to our enemies. They paid me well for that information. Eric's confession pours out like poison from a wound. That operation happened long ago. Everyone died except you. I knew about you surviving, but honestly, I never wanted to kill you. The problem started because of that journalist who discovered everything. He knows the truth will eventually come out, making Sarah's death unavoidable. With chilling honesty, he admits to his betrayal, his involvement with the Taliban, and his responsibility for the deaths of Sarah's colleagues. Eric's confession is interrupted by violence. He shoots Sarah and then wounds himself in the leg, preparing to claim self-defense when he emerges from their confrontation. His plan is almost perfect, except he's underestimated his opponent. Sarah may be wounded, but she's far from defeated. More importantly, Eric has forgotten about his daughter's toy phone, which Sarah has been using to record their entire conversation. As Eric emerges from the building claiming Sarah attacked him, she activates the recording. Eric's confession, his admission of treason, betrayal, and murder, broadcasts through the embassy's sound system for everyone to hear. The general and embassy staff learn that Eric sold out American soldiers, orchestrated Sarah's psychological torture, and kidnapped her son to cover up his crimes. The truth revealed, Eric is immediately arrested by embassy security. Sarah is rushed to medical care, and most importantly, her son is found and returned to her safely. The embassy provides her with excellent medical treatment, and she makes a full recovery. The film concludes with Sarah reunited with her son, both of them free from the nightmare that began with a simple visit to the embassy. Justice has been served, a traitor has been exposed, and a mother has reclaimed both her child and her sanity. This powerful thriller demonstrates that sometimes the most dangerous enemies are those who wear the same uniform, and that a mother's love combined with a soldier's training creates an unstoppable force for justice. If you enjoyed this recap, hit like and share. Don't forget to subscribe to GOAT Recaps for more. What movie should we recap next? Let us know in the comments. See you in the next one.